You know what's funny is both the previous film in this series and the earlier version of that previous film from the 70s both had casts of incredibly notable people. This one feels like it has a cast of people whose career largely stalled out shortly before or shortly after this movie. Death on the Nile! Yeah, some of those careers stalled out for real unpleasant reasons. I don't want to dwell on that, though. I am just acknowledging that, yes, I'm aware of some issues with various members of the cast. I'm not dealing with it today, but I am aware. And if that's something that prevents you from watching the movie, absolutely fair as well. But yeah, this was the second in Kenneth Branagh's, I don't want to say reinvention, but let's say liberally adapted takes on Hercule Poirot adventures, originally Agatha Christie mysteries. The first one being Murder on the Orient Express, which I have not seen. There's also a more recent one called The Hunting in Venice, which I also have not seen. I've now seen this one, though. I watched it with my boyfriend, who actually likes mysteries a lot. It's one of the few kinds of movies he really gets into, and reads a lot as well. So he had a ton of notes on all the changes this did to the original story, which mostly had to do with the characters. There are fewer of them. A couple get condensed down into singular characters where there were aspects from several in the book. There's some shifts in some of their motivations and some of their backstory. The mechanics of the actual crime are largely the same, but yeah, there's a lot of changes that, especially once he laid them out for me, felt like, oh, there really wasn't a need to do that. They just kind of did it. All right. But I'm not going to dwell on that. I came into this relatively cold, and I came in as someone who enjoys mysteries. I'm not an addict on the genre, but I like a good mystery story. I like the 70s version of Murder on the Orient Express. I saw a stage version of Death on the Nile over 20 years ago that I barely remember, but I remember that I saw it. In any case, here's the very short version that I'll say on this. I really like Branagh's performance as Poirot. I know that the characterization takes some liberties. They've, let's say, autistically coded him in a way that does not feel super representative of the original works, but I don't think that is character damaging. It's a choice, and it's one you may or may not agree with, but he puts a lot into the performance. You can tell he's very committed to bringing this vision of this character to life, and I think he does a really good job playing the part, honestly. The best parts of this movie by far are him working the case, him sitting down and interrogating people, the interactions that he has with them. That's the best stuff by a lot. That having been said, if I were going to pick one word to describe this movie, it would probably be overwrought. And I think the best way to illustrate that is by pointing out that this movie decided to give the incredibly flamboyant rendition of Poirot's mustache that they have gone with a tragic backstory. That's not an exaggeration. That's not a metaphor. That's not a joke. They gave the mustache a tragic backstory. That's what opens the movie. Yeah. We are at a point where sometimes TV shows can get away with just presenting a mystery, but when it comes to movies, and maybe it's because procedurals became so common on television for a long time that movies feel they need to up it in some way. It needs to be bigger, more extravagant, more elaborate. They'll inject chases and whatnot into this that definitely were not in the original. But yeah, it feels overcooked. One of the first scenes after we get the tragic backstory of the mustache is this scene in a club, and there's this very handsy dancing going on the dance floor, and the choreography was actually pretty neat, and they performed it well and everything. But I'm watching that going, given when and where this is set, they'd be arrested. What are we doing? Well, we're cranking everything up to 11. Even a lot of stuff that really did not need to be cranked up to 11. that might be a personal taste thing. Some people might appreciate the flamboyance that this presents on screen in terms of how it goes about its storytelling and its mystery. I think it's distracting from the character interactions and the overall mystery itself. So I'm not especially here for it, but I can't appreciate kind of just the absurdity of it. Another thing that probably can't be helped. I forget when this was filmed. I can't remember if this was filmed during COVID lockdown. It might have been, but even if it wasn't, probably for budget reasons alone, you can tell a lot of this was shot in front of a green screen. Like, I'm not sure there was ever actually a boat on the water, or if there was, I'm pretty positive the actors were never on it. You can really sense the artificiality of it. And again, that doesn't have to be a distraction, but I don't know. Poirot is the kind of detective that for me, like, he is the flamboyant element in an otherwise pretty grounded, if overly twisted story. Like, the complications in Poirot stories is generally he's surrounded by a bunch of rich people with secrets. Like, that's what makes things complicated. But as far as actual extravagance, he's usually one of the most extravagant things in the story, if not the. And this feels like it's trying to bring everything up to his level. And it's not what I would have gone with. Like, I generally feel that it's best when the detective contrasts with the world and the mystery and the setting and the other characters. And like, that's part of what I love about detectives like Nick Charles, who is well-to-do in that he married into money and he's often surrounded by well-to-do people, but he himself, he's just an ex-cop and a functional alcoholic. And I love how that contrasts with everything else. Or Sherlock Holmes, at the best of times, his, let's go with social bluntness, throws people off a lot because, yeah, that's not, dude, what? But here, it just feels like they took Poirot, who is a little bit of a flamboyant character, on the page, and they were like, okay, well, let's do the most ridiculous mustache ever put to film. This one's actually more restrained than Murder on the Orient Express. I know I haven't seen it, but I've seen the mustache. And then let's elevate the entire thing so it seems like that mustache makes sense. And again, just not the way I would have gone. It's fun. I don't regret seeing it. And again, while I can definitely see where people who are fans of his original stories will take issue with the choice to code Poirot as neurodivergent the way that they have, I personally don't have a problem with that. And I think the character is just very well embodied. And again, you can tell that Branagh really likes playing this character. And that helps. That helps a lot, actually. So I did enjoy this. I don't think I'll ever watch it again. It does make me want to watch the other ones that he's done, though, just to see how ridiculous they are, or if this is the peak of the ridiculousness. I'm not sure what is the case on that, but yeah, I had fun with it. It's something to go into to just have fun with. Like, don't go in expecting more than it's going to deliver. But I enjoyed it. I had a good time watching it. Had a few laughs that it might not have intended. But Death on the Nile, have you seen it? What did you think about it? Whatever your thoughts are, drop something down in the comments. Let's talk about it. Patreon pays the bills and enables me to do this as my living. Even if you can't help me out that way, like, share, and subscribe. They all help me out. Don't worry too much about it, though. We take a relaxed attitude around here, so you can just come on back next time you need a break. And now to thank my highest supporting patrons: Robin Moore, Jared Boyce, Subin Lutfulla, Auntie Kate 808, Mira G, Angry Casperol, Dave Hall, Oliver B, Mystic Shadow, Sean Miller, Welsh Wrestling Geeks, Melissa Pedersen, Becky Sparks, Ulrich, Twylord, Tracy Scrabbit, Palba Rabajoggle, Sir Didymus is my favorite, and thanking some random folks from the lower tiers of my Patreon: Puck, Lady Sammy, and Eva Bright. Don't worry, the rats are fine. Just thought we'd kick the year off with Archie. What you think, bud? He's skeptical.